friends. Welcome back to Tuesday Table Talk with Notary Know How. I'm Dena Spinks.
And I'm Melissa Watts, and we are so glad that you've joined us here today. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. As we're starting a new year, we wanted to slow things down for a minute, not to hustle harder, but to reflect intentionally.
You're right, Dina. And I'll say this right out of the gate. If your 2025 was like my 2025, like our 2025 was, it felt a little messy. It felt a little unfinished. And I dare say it felt heavy, heavier than expected. But if you're in that same boat, trust me, you're not behind. You're human.
We created an end of the year reflection and new year planning workbook back in 2023. We
Hmm.
created an end of the year reflection and new year planning workbook back in 2023 because we kept seeing notaries jump into January without ever asking what actually worked for me last year and
Yep.
what didn't work for me last year. I have heard many people tell me that they don't know where to start their year or that they have not gotten off to a good start. The good news is that today is a new day and you can restart now and with clarity and focus. And we want to help you do that. We're here to help you get there.
Yes, I love the words clarity and focus, but more than anything, I want to know that y'all were paying attention and you heard what she said about intentional
Yeah,
reflection.
yes.
Let that sink in for just a minute. Reflection isn't about judgment, it's about clarity and focus, like she said. So many times when we look back at the previous year or goals that we've made, whether they were short term or long term, or even if we reflect back on our lives, we have a tendency to focus only where we missed the mark and to point to the point that we don't even try to set goals at all. Reflection should not be like that. Reflection is about honoring what you carried, what you survived, and what you learned in the process to take into the following year. That reflection gives you the setup to make this next year successful.
You're absolutely right, Melissa. And reflection is looking back, okay? So we are going to look back at 2025. That is the first step of this process.
Yes.
One of my favorite questions in the workbook is, what did you dread working on last year?
Yeah.
Because dread is data. My answer to this question always surprises me every year, and it's very telling. If you dread something, then ask yourself why. If you dread it, then why are you doing it? Number one.
Yeah.
If it is something that you can't not do, then what can you change to turn that dread into a joy?
Yeah. And you need to pay close attention to that in your spirit. Dread often tells you that something needs to change. However, just because something needs to change does not mean that you're failing. And if you're like most people, many of your New Year's resolutions have already fallen to the wayside, making the
Mhm.
process of setting goals a dread in and of themselves. We have taken the dread out of that for you. If you take a look here, this is our workbook. And you can see that mine's kind of already worn a little bit. That we are only 3 weeks into the new year. So let's stop, reflect, and recapture, or like she said earlier, restart those goals for 2026.
So now let's move into the next step of the process. So the first step
Yeah.
is, reflection. You're asking yourself a lot of in-depth questions to
Mhm.
help you take a closer look at your year. Okay?
They're
Um,
clarifying.
right, right. Is to help us clarify to know what didn't work, what do I want to change,
Yeah.
what would I like to see happen. So the
Yes.
next step of the process is your vision for 2026. So after reflection, the workbook moves into vision, asking what you want your life and business to look like across six specific areas. Those six areas are personal, business, health, family, spiritual, and financial. This is a process. Please do not skip the steps, y'all. They are
Yeah.
very important and they're there for
Very.
a reason. You might
Yes.
not be able to finish the entire workbook in one day, but make sure you follow the outline, follow the steps. It's very important to get the full effect from the book.
Yes.
I want to challenge you when you do it to disconnect from screen time while you work on this book. Sometimes we just don't realize how much we have become so digital, so reliant on our digital life.
Hmm.
And we forget to step back and just think, you know, we get
Yes,
into
ma'am.
survival mode and then people think for stress relief, well, I'm just going to sit there and flip through my phone. And it's really not relieving your stress, guys. It's actually making it worse. It's
Yeah.
impossible for us to get in touch with our intuition and that voice inside when you're constantly on a screen, whether that is your phone, your tablet, your laptop, or your TV.
Yeah.
In 2025, for a short season, I got very intentional about stepping away from the screens because I really wanted to get in. I wanted to silence all the noises that were coming at me, and I
Yeah.
wanted to get in touch with my own personal intuition. And it was so incredibly eye-opening. Things that I really needed to think about, needed to ponder, important life-changing things.
Hmm.
And it was just very eye-opening to me. I was actually able to get in touch with things that I haven't thought about in a while because we all get stuck in survival mode and
Yes.
hey, we're all human. We all do it. So don't get dummied down by a screen. While you go through this workbook, step away with the digital clutter and allow your brain some time to adjust and dig in. I might even suggest if you are lucky enough that you're able to do this, I'm not. I'm a mom to a little one. It's hard for me to get away. But if you have the luxury of being able to go away by yourself for a weekend, hey, why don't you plan a personal retreat just for you? You can go visit an Airbnb. You could go to your favorite hotel in town. You could even take a trip to the beach. And you can plan to use that as your alone time to get away from the screens, get away from all the noises in your life, get in touch with your intuition.
Hmm.
And if you are spiritual, I would suggest spend some time in prayer and ask for wisdom and guidance and plan some time alone to go through this process. It will be very rewarding. We want you to dream big here.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset that if you believe it, you can achieve it. And if you could have anything you want in 2026, what would it be? What would you want your dream life and your dream business to look like? What do you want to see happen in 2026?
I know what I want to see happen in 2026. I want to see each and every one of you
Yes.
achieve your goals. I want
Hmm.
to be able to join arms with you and know that we did this together as a team. Dina talked about thinking big and dreaming big. And I want to show you something. When she said that earlier today, when we were talking, I grabbed this book off my bookshelf, The Magic of Thinking Big. This was published. Can y'all see that? This was published probably 30 something years ago, maybe 40. Look at that hair on the back of that. It's probably been about 40 years ago that this was published, but it is still applicable today. And you can tell from the well-worn pages and then the I've got my little notes and stuff all in here that it has made a big impact on me throughout the years. So if you've been shrinking your goals, not shrinking from your goals, but if this was your vision to start with, and now this is your vision, if you've been shrinking your goals to protect yourself from disappointment, this is your invitation to stop. Go to the free resources section on our website at notaryknowhow.org and download this amazing workbook. You really, really, really will be surprised. This is different from any other goal setting, vision dreaming, vision boarding you have ever done in your life. Download this amazing free resource and let us help you reach those goals Don't not reach your goals, if that makes sense. Don't not reach your goals in 2026 because you didn't make any goals for 2026.
And there's
Yeah,
nothing,
that's the whole point for of the book, of the workbook.
and there's no reason you can't achieve
Yeah,
your goals.
yeah.
You are what stand in the way to you achieving your goals.
Amen.
So now we're going to talk about goals,
Yeah.
SMART goals.
How do we
It's
do it,
time,
Dina?
yes, it's time for us to get practical. Now that we know what we want, because we went through the workbook, we invested the time, we got in touch with our own brain and thinking and intuitions, and we got clarity. Now it's time to set goals, and we will turn our ideas into SMART goals.
Yeah.
SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. There's a whole section in the book that explains that in detail.
Yeah. And don't get down by the fact that you think, oh, that's too structured for me. Let me tell you something. Structure doesn't kill creativity. It protects it. It actually protects it. Was thinking about this just a few days ago about when Michelangelo was getting ready to do a new piece. He sketched different portions of what he wanted to. Did it ruin his creativity? No. Did it stifle his abilities? Absolutely not. It gave his creativity some protection. He knew this is how he wanted, this is the area he wanted to stay in. So structure doesn't kill creativity. It actually protects it.
This is true. This is true. Um, okay, guys. I totally agree with everything that Melissa said. Here is another way to be more intentional in
Mhm.
2026. This may be a new concept to some of you. I've been doing this for several years, and I believe Melissa has too.
I
It
have.
is called Word of the Year. Okay. So choosing a word of the year gives focus and alignment. We even share ways to implement that word daily so it becomes lived, not just symbolic. This is one of my favorite things. I know I say that about everything, but this is truly one of my favorite things. And
Drink.
I'm a believer, and I pray each year and ask Father God to give me a word of the year.
Yeah.
And I also pray and ask for a scripture of the year. But we're just talking about word of the year here. When I know my word, I then go to thesaurus.com and I look up 12 synonyms for that word. I then write one synonym on each of the 12 months of the year. I do this to help me stay focused and live out an aspect of that main word of the month or word of the year each month of the year.
Yeah. That's
So,
uh that's powerful.
and a word of the year is a deeply personal thing, and it will be different for everyone. So you can't look at someone else's word of the year and try to implement that into your life. And you can't take your word of the year, even though you think your friend Susie down the street really needs it. You can't implement it into her life. Okay. Sometimes your word of the year is more work related. Sometimes it's more personally focused. Ask
Mhm.
yourself, how do you see this word at work in your life right now? And if it's not, how would you like to see the word at work in your life?
Yeah.
So, if you need to make some adjustments to your life to implement the word, then set a goal and plan how you will achieve it. And I'll just give you a quick, short little example. I need to lose a lot of weight. My word of the year is committed. Okay. So I'm looking at my life. Well, Dana, how are you currently using that word in your life to achieve this amazing goal of losing all this weight? And so that made me start looking for all the areas where I fail on my commitment. Where do I not show up when I need to be committed and show up? So that's an area right there where Friday nights I tend to overeat. We usually have people over for dinner, and I allow myself a little bit extra on Friday nights. And, is that me being committed? Could I perhaps set a limit to, hey, you can only have 3 bites of dessert, or you're only going to eat a half a serving of this really high fat, high calorie dish? That's just a small, quick example of how you can set a goal to help you achieve what your vision is for yourself in 2026. So look for
Yeah,
areas where that word doesn't apply. And then what do we have to do to apply that word? How can I be committed? I can think ahead, I can plan ahead, and I can pick specific times when I'm going to exercise. I can pick to stay within a specific calorie range. Those are just some examples. So, yeah, anybody can set goals. And that's what we are seriously trying to do here to help us have more success and a happier life and business in 2026.
that's correct. And sorry about that. The sun's starting to come in. I love this. My office, I have a window, a big window on this side and a big window on this side, and I love the sunlight that I get, but sometimes it can be a little much. But she mentioned two words when she was talking about setting these goals, and that is alignment and adjustment.
Mhm.
And if you've ever been to a chiropractor or know someone who has, you understand how important and your foundation, if
Mhm.
you can have all this other stuff right, but if your foundation needs alignment or adjustment, is where you can lose that, like for Dena and her word of the year, commitment. So, I want to share something with you. Your brain is like a computer, and you turn it on and you give it one command, you hit the enter button, and thousands of lines of code and instantly go into effect. Same thing with your phone. You open your phone, you're going to call somebody, you push one button, mom, and thousands of lines of code happen to make that go into effect. What I want you to do for this word of the year this year, when you've set your goals, when you've set your SMART goals, you've gone through the workbook and you've set your SMART goals for this year, I want you to take that word and say, okay, I am programming my mindset with this one word to complete these goals in my life. And then repeat that word. So then every day, you don't have to choke yourself out and carry this burden of responsibility of going back and trying to reread all these goals and the things you're going to do to achieve each of those goals. Because if you do, you're going to lose yourself in the process because the process itself will take too long. So use that one word. Like she said, you're going to implement that word. I want you to implement that word throughout your day, every day, various times. And believe it or not, every single time you say that word, every single time Dena says the word commitment, those goals that she made and the steps she wrote down to how she was going to achieve those goals, her brain is going to process that. Your brain is going to process that. Choose a word that you can easily implement. And like she said, go to thesaurus, write down at the top of your calendar for 12 months a new word for each of those 12 months so that that keeps that goal fresh in your mind. It's not the same, it's fresh. Renewing your commitment. You hear about couples renewing their wedding vows. You can renew each of your goals with, like Dena said, hers is commitment this year. She can refresh that commitment with a new word each of the 12 months. And it gives you an extra spark, a little extra something, something. And that kind of leads into our next thing about encouragement. That word keeps you encouraged because your goal continues throughout the 12 months of the year to be fresh. You are allowed, let me encourage you. I'm going to say it a jillion times. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to want more clarity. You're allowed to want more peace. You are allowed to want more sustainability. You're allowed to want more joy, business, in your personal life, in your financial life, in your spiritual life, in your health. All of these areas that we've talked about, you are allowed to want more. You are allowed to think big.
You know what? I just realized I was muted. Oh no. Okay,
Yeah,
Melissa, I'm going to get from you the author's name of that book and all the details, and we're going to drop that in the description section of our video for
okay,
anyone who would like to check it out. So,
great.
just like Melissa, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's by David J. Schwartz, Schwartz.
Okay. All right. And like I said, I'm going to drop it in the description with the link
Awesome.
to
Awesome.
Amazon for anybody who wants to get it. So, just like Melissa said, growth does not require an overhaul. If you hear anything from me today, I want you to hear that and let it sink in. Growth does not require an overhaul. It
Right.
just requires intention and follow through on your part. If this year didn't turn out the way that you planned, I want you to hear this clearly. That does not mean you lack discipline. You do not lack intelligence or ability. It usually means you are navigating real life just like the rest of us, real
Yeah.
responsibilities and real limits.
Mhm.
Growth is not about doing more, it's about doing what matters with intention. And when you take the time to reflect honestly, you give yourself permission to build forward instead of starting over.
Yeah. When you said that a while ago about growth doesn't require an overhaul, just intention and follow through, it reminded me of a movie years and years ago that Bill Murray was in called Baby Steps. And the whole point was you set this goal and you set this one baby step. And when you reach that one, then you set another one and you take that one. And before long, you turn around and look and you've gone quite a distance. A friend of mine, single lady, um, her husband had passed away and she had this humongous property to take care of. But she worked full time. So every single day when she came home and parked her car, she would get out and as she was going in, she said, I just did just one thing every day when I came home and parked my car and went in, whether it was pull weeds out of this bed or move a rock. And I want to tell you something. I went to see her property after some time, and I was shocked. She had built an entire rock wall down one side of her driveway, which was quite a distance, and then had built steps all the way down to an English garden. And she
Oh,
did it one rock at a time, one day at a time, one baby step at a time. Like Dena said, um, it's not about requiring an overhaul, just intentionally following through with one step at a time. And the first step is downloading this workbook.
our workbook is available now to help guide this process. You can find it on the free resources page on our website at notaryknowhow.org.
Yeah,
There will be a link included below this video. We have also, well, okay, I just told you that. So please be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and share with a friend. And
yeah,
like Melissa said, building a notary business is all about baby steps. It's
yeah,
stacking one step on top of another until you reach your goals.
yes,
Later on this year, we will have a course coming out to teach you exactly how to do that. So be sure you sign up for our email subscription list so you will be the first to know information about that wonderful upcoming course and Facebook boot camp.
Exactly. We try with those newsletters to be relevant and keep everything fresh. And if there's something you'd like to see in our newsletter that we haven't covered, please send us an email at admin@notaryknowhow.org. And in the meantime, I want to tell you that this year in 2026, if I could speak one thing into you, is that I want you to give yourself permission to reflect before rushing into this year. Think big and make goals.
Yes, 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 yes. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. We are so grateful to be here with you on Tuesday Table Talk, and we look forward to next time.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.